With the increasingly important role technology is playing in today's work environment, there have been a multitude of changes in the professional landscape. New machinery, instrumentation, and devices have boosted productivity and efficiency to unprecedented levels. But has this change really made working lives less stressful? We argue no. The induction of technology while revolutionizing market penetration, profit margins, and automation has only served to make the working lives of typical professionals more stressful. With the technological advancement of the 21st century, our work lives have certainly become more efficient, but at the same time they've become much more stressful. According to the 2012 Global Work Monitor survey, about half of Canadian employees are blurring the line between their work and private lives. The survey found that 46% of Canadian employees handle private matters like online shopping or paying bills during their working hours. Meanwhile, 51% of employees said they undertake work-related matters such as answering calls or emails during their personal time. Researchers from Stanford and Boston University found that the more time people spend handling email, the more burden they felt. According to the research, 43% of people feel they fall short if they don't respond to email and phone calls immediately. In fact, emails seem to be singled out as the ultimate symbol of work-related overload. Smartphones may just be exacerbating the problem. Research suggests that it's particularly easy to become compulsive about checking emails. And because most people carry their phones with them 24/7, the constant checking cuts not only into work hours, but also into personal time. With smartphone sales incessantly increasing, the added stress levels brought with them will become a prominent part of this technological evolution. A recent study conducted by Intercall, a conference solution provider, found that nearly 1 in 2 Americans who use technology in their everyday jobs say that they are now required to do more work with fewer resources due to the current economic climate. As an example, nearly 1/3 feel that they need to stay connected to work 24/7, and 44% take work-related calls and emails during weekends, breaks, or holidays. People who work from home are left more exhausted and stressed than those who commute to the office. According to research by Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute, those who manage their workload from home find it difficult to switch off their family life in the background. In fact, working from home often makes domestic disputes worse, the study discovered.
Technology can be used as a means of monitoring. This constant feeling of being watched leads to a more stressful work environment. One form of monitoring in the workplace is video surveillance, which leaves employees with no reasonable expectation of privacy. Employers may use video surveillance to monitor employee misconduct, job performance, and efficiency. Being constantly watched destroys trust between employers and employees. Naturally, it leads to higher stress levels. Employees do not want to underperform, and so they're constantly worrying about their performance. This type of stress leads to working conditions that include paced work, lack of involvement, reduced task variety, reduced supervisory support, reduced peer social support, fear of job loss, and lack of control over tasks. Another form of monitoring in the workplace is computer usage tracking. This is the use of computerized systems to automatically collect information on how the employee is using company resources. Program log an employee's use of computer resources such as times logged in, website history, and idle time period. All these practices and technological influences have adverse effects on employees, the foremost being increased stress. The ability to track employee movements online has increased transparency in the workforce. This applies not only to employees with 9-to-5 desk jobs, but also employees in all sectors. Athletes, for example, have all their statistics, achievements, and performances available for the world to scrutinize. The competition and pressure for a professional athlete are enormous in today's world. In addition to emotional stress, technology has worsened, if not directly caused, several stress-inducing medical conditions. Computer-induced medical problem defines an umbrella of issues that are associated with prolonged use of computers due to poor posture and poor etiquette. The most common of these injuries are carpal tunnel syndrome, computer vision syndrome, and musculoskeletal problems. Carpal tunnel syndrome is a type of stress-related injury due to repetitive movements of joints that increase pressure on the median nerve. This is often related to the use of a mouse and/or a keyboard for prolonged periods of time. A review done by the National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health states that jobs that require repetitive movements or specific wrist movements are associated with incidents of carpal tunnel syndrome, and studies show that 1 in 8 computer professionals suffer from carpal tunnel syndrome. Musculoskeletal problems are commonly obtained through the use of technology. They generally entail issues such as head and neck strain as well as lower back pain. An article published by Oxford Journals found that poor posture worsened the musculoskeletal symptoms, and that neck-shoulder pain as well as lower back pain amongst adolescents increased in the 1990s simultaneously with the increased use of information and communication technology. Computer vision syndrome is a degenerative issue that can cause reduced eyesight, blurred vision, eye tiredness, and even glaucoma. This can be caused by stress and strain on the eyes as users squint to read emails and messages on work cell phones, or spend long periods of time reading off of computer monitors. In addition to physical stress on the body, these medical issues can present a huge amount of stress on people in their work environments, as it's an additional element in their lives that they have to worry about. Many employees who suffer from these problems struggle through the pain and increased stress in their lives as they work to keep their jobs in a competitive economy. They can also worry about the long-term effects of these conditions when they retire. This issue is so serious that many companies employ some sort of ergonomic training to educate their employees on the importance of ergonomics. Another point of interest is the increase in long work hours. A study done at the Finnish Institute of Occupational Health found that doing more than 11 hours of work a day raises heart risk by 67%.
The rapid growth of technology has potential to largely replace human labor and automate most production processes by about 2050. There are three key employment sectors that are most affected by automation brought by new technology: agriculture, manufacturing, and services. Some of the most impressive advances in automation are occurring in agriculture. Technology changes in food production are leading to a world without farmers. Taking the US as an example, in 1850, 60% of the working population was employed in agriculture. Today, less than 2.7% of the workforce is engaged directly in farming activities. Presently, more than 20% of the GNP and 22% of the workforce in the US depends on crops grown and animals raised on feedlots. With more and more breakthroughs, most of these outdoor farming jobs will be eliminated soon. Millions of other jobs are eliminated because of re-engineered and highly automated environments. From this graph, we can see manufacturing employment dropped nearly 20% between 2000 and 2007. New technology has also had an impact on service workers. In commercial banking and thrift institutions, nearly 700,000 jobs will be eliminated due to re-engineered processes. Many banks are using voicemail systems or automatic teller machines, helping them greatly reduce the amount of time representatives spend answering inquiries. Debit and point-of-sale banking allow customers to pay electronically, thereby eliminating check writing, credit clearance, handling, record entry, and many other steps involved in processing paper checks. Workers in these and many other sectors are in constant fear of being laid off or losing their jobs. Employees are pushing themselves to be competitive and perform to the highest levels to secure their future. The amount of stress incurred in such situations speaks for itself. As most UW students will attest from last week, technology induces stress when it encounters a failure. A study by a New York software vendor shows that monthly, a typical North American business has about 12 hours of IT-related downtime, and an accompanied drop in staff productivity to 60%. Technology is also giving older segments of the workforce a hard time trying to find jobs. Studies show that professionals aged 30 or over need 50% more time to find a job. Age discrimination is predominant in IT fields, since an IT professional needs to update their knowledge base at a more frequent rate than perhaps any other professional.
Globalization, facilitated by advances in technological development, has introduced additional stress at the workplace. Without a doubt, globalization allowed economies and businesses to grow by providing consumers with more products on the market. However, it's important to note that stress should be differentiated from efficiency, and even when a company is doing extremely well, it is still possible for the employees at the workplace to be under high levels of stress. Globalization has opened the market to foreign competition and foreign products to compete in the market. As a result, many companies have lost significant market share to these foreign companies. This has pressured the employees to come up with increasingly innovative products to remain competitive. Losing market share can potentially result in the company being sold. The pressure to compete invariably results in stress throughout the entire corporate structure. There is a trickle-down effect that occurs from executives to management to employees, contributing to a stressful company culture. Motorola is a prime example of this. From 2000, Motorola staged an enormous successful resurgence, gaining up to 22% of their market share in 2006. However, by 2008, the company went on to lose the market to foreign manufacturers, which eventually resulted in Motorola Mobility being sold to Google in 2011. In 2009, the position of advertising account executive was listed as the 6th most stressful job in America, with technology as the biggest reason. Despite the average salary being close to six figures, the advertising account executives must continually keep pace with customers' tastes and trends for rapidly changing audiences. Similarly, senior corporate executive was listed as the third most stressful job in 2011, with the need to understand rapidly changing trends and technological developments identified as the main cause of stress. Today, the market is changing at a rate never seen before. Technology and ideas which took years for one company to develop may now take the competitor only months to put onto the market. The development of the first iPhone began in 2004 and took a few years to finally be unveiled to the public. Now, customers expect to see the new generation of iPhone every year. To accommodate for such rapid change in the market demands, projects must be completed in a much shorter time frame since the delays in launch will result in outdated products. It isn't difficult to realize that pressure placed on employees to complete projects and meet objectives in the limited time results in workplace stress. Globalization influenced the market to change, and employees are stressed to keep in pace with such rapid changes in technology. Globalization has resulted in stress at the workplace. We have shown that the increasing prevalence of technology in the modern workplace has inexplicably resulted in increased levels of stress. This stress can be traced to a multitude of technology-related sources and range in its variety of final impacts. Additionally, we demonstrated that technology-induced stress isn't limited only to office job employees, but can affect athletes, farmers, and entire corporate structures.